Good evening. I want to welcome everyone to the 2017 Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. On behalf of the Board of Directors, Hall of Fame members, we really appreciate you all coming tonight. We've got a big night planned and we're very excited. A lot of hard work has gone into it. And I want to start off by thanking a couple of people who have helped us, or a few people who have helped us since we started back in 2014. Many of you might remember Wayne Minshew passed away a couple of years ago, but Wayne came and met with our founding board of directors and really gave us some good ideas. And he was wrote the first article about us in Calhoun Magazine and was really excited that we were starting this here in Gordon County. He was a Hall of Fame member over in Ron Floyd County, so we really appreciate that, and miss Wayne, of course. Second, Jan Goebel. Jan, we approached him for our inaugural class. He was a CPA, and he came over and set up a really first-class professional system for counting our votes, counting our votes. So we started out, we wanted to be above reproach and take all the politics out of this Hall of Fame and everything, and we really appreciate Jan. He also passed away not too long ago, and we really appreciate him. For the 3 years we've used CPA, R.M. Dobbs Company, his firm has provided us with a couple of CPAs to count the votes and certify them, so we really appreciate them. Last year, a couple of our board members got sick and couldn't make it to the banquet, so I want to recognize them and we really appreciate them and glad they're back. Frank Hall, right here. Stand up, Frank. Glad Frank's back with us. And Coach Jerry Smith. They weren't able to make it here with us last year. But they're part of our board of directors, and we're really glad that they're back with us this year. Another picture here. These two guys on either side of that ugly guy in the middle spend a lot of hours creating your video biographies, and here we are in action, Chamber of Commerce. We really appreciate the Chamber too, because they've given us their meeting space over there quite a bit. Barry and Shane have done a great job. Any mistakes you hear tonight are my fault because I wrote the scripts for them, but they've done a good job. I wanted to thank Andrea Brumlow. She's our treasurer always. She's number one in my book and in the Hall of Fame or Board of Directors for sure. Scott Fletcher as well. Chris Tarpley, Chuck Ruth, Suzanne Rowland really helped today, and this looks like it does because of them. And her sister Sherry Moore, I'm not sure if she's here, but she's kind of recruited in by us and helped us decorate. And last year at the banquet, she gave us a very generous donation as well, so we really appreciate that. So I want to direct you to our program here. So if everybody will look, on the first page you'll see our board of directors, and instead of calling all their names out, you can just look at those. A really good group, and I'd like to ask for all of our board members to stand just for a minute. They're around, everybody, yeah, so give them a hand. I want to tell you, pretty impressive. Our board of directors in the past 3 years have given just almost $20,000 in cash donations of themselves, and then they've pretty much raised all the extra money besides that. So that's something we're very proud of. Page 3 or page 4 there. It's not listed as page 4, but it's listed as page 2. That shows our donations. This year we didn't solicit donations. We told everybody once they gave we weren't going to be coming back every year, and we're not, but we did have some generous folks who voluntarily gave us donations for 2017. You can see them there, Frank and Sandra Hall. They were already benefactors. Benefactor is those who've given $1,000 or more. Chris and Emily Tarpley, you see there, they were already benefactors too. Barry and Holly Blevins, they're sustaining members. Shane and Rita Faulkner, sustaining members too. And then our founding benefactors, really appreciate them because without them we wouldn't be here tonight. That's gifts of $5,000 or more, and that's Andrea and Jack Brumlow, Scott and Amy Fletcher, Mohawk, Gordon Hospital, Community Foundation of Northwest Georgia, and then I'd recognize Shaw Industry. To date, they've given us $3,000, so we really appreciate those folks. So give them a round of applause. We're very good shape financially, but this costs a lot of money. We don't make enough on ticket sales to provide all this, and we're very serious about our museum, and we're gonna have a first-class museum hopefully in the very near future. So if you haven't given to us and you want to, there's cards on your table, and we encourage you to do that because it takes time and money to sustain this, hopefully for decades to come. All right, so we have some Hall of Fame members here tonight, and those that have let me know they're going to be here are Pete Garrigan. Pete, stand up. Frida Hunt. Hal Lamb. Coach Lamb. Chip Henderson. Matthew Pitts. Bob Nance. There's Bob back by the wall. And Mike Nance. Diane Smith. All right. Did I miss anyone? Maud Chatham, I'm sorry. Maud, stand up. All right. First time I met Maud, I said, I still think you can take it to the hoop. And she certainly looks like she can. So, one member that couldn't make it tonight that sent a nice note and a donation to us, Ken Moore. The reason I love this picture is they're driving to score on Auburn. That's Clemson versus Auburn back in 1951. So I love that picture there. So we appreciate Ken Moore, but he couldn't be here with us tonight. So thank you, Hall of Fame members. All right, we're really excited, as I said, about tonight's induction. We have some really fine athletes that are going in tonight. This is our third class, but I want to remind everyone that the Beatles were inducted into the Hall of Fame. They're in the third class. So this is very high honor. Sometimes in the voting, some of the voters go for diversity in schools and everything, but everybody here has been vetted and are real champions of their sport. You might not believe this, but I've actually played basketball with 3 of our inductees tonight: Jason Bagwell, Casey Baxter, and Barry Hall. And I didn't try to guard them, of course, but I was on the court with them. They are still very, very athletic and very good. But after reading the bios, I'm not convinced that they're as good as Ann Gallman because, she's did an incredible job too. And she made 100 free throws in front of a witness, straight, and that's pretty incredible. Clarence Port's very impressive looking too, and I think he can still play. And Stacy Miller Banks too. So we're real happy with the class tonight. So we're ready to get started. I want to introduce you to our Vice President, another Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer up in his high school and college up in Tennessee in basketball, and we're heavy basketball here tonight. But Scott Fletcher is going to take the mic now for the induction ceremony. So we really appreciate you being here. Scott.
This is going to be a wonderful evening. Thank you for coming. On behalf of the Hall of Fame Board of Directors, we really want you to understand this night is to honor 7 people who have achieved excellence in their sport, in our community, and made a whole lot of people we love very proud. And when you... I've traveled a lot, as I'm sure many of you guys have, and we are so fortunate to live where we live. And the community that Calhoun, Gordon County, all the schools, and the spirit in our community, and all the wonderful people that cherish and work to give to this community is unique. It really is. Not everybody's got what we got. And we feel, the board of directors feel, that 4 years ago when we started this venture, that there was a void in what was a wonderful community. And that void was a sports hall of fame. Because, you travel outside of Calhoun, Gordon County, a lot of people recognize us for our sport accomplishment. And that's, it's good. I love going to other communities and people know Calhoun, Gordon County because of what has been achieved here in athletics. But we're here tonight to honor 7 individuals, and it's all about them. And we hope you leave here tonight with all those families that with those 7 individuals, we hope that it's an evening that you guys cherish forever, and that you guys have a great time and understand that this commitment that this board of directors has made to create this Hall of Fame is worthy of your continued support. The first order of business is to recognize the 1979 Redbud Class State Championship Wrestling Team. Chuck Ruth, are you prepared to come up and talk on behalf of your brothers? All right, you can head this way.
Expectations were high for the 1979 Redbud Cardinal Wrestling Team. Undefeated in their past 2 seasons, the team's state finishes had improved from 5th in 1977 to 3rd in 1978, and the Cardinals were considered a strong preseason favorite to take it all at the 1979 state tournament. The team was returning 5 state finishers, including 3 who placed second. Coach John Wilson, who had built the program from scratch, had left for personal reasons to take a position at rival Armurchie High School, so there was a cause for concern even for a strong program. Wilson's replacement, Coach Frank Caputo, had very little experience in coaching wrestling, but what he lacked in technical knowledge was more than made up for with his physical conditioning program. Coach Caputo trained the team so that his athletes would dominate the 3rd period with superior conditioning, if the match made it that far. Coach Jim Moore, a community coach, provided the team with technical training in the rapidly evolving sport. Coach Caputo's 3 goals for the Redbud wrestling team were to, number 1, continue undefeated winning streak, number 2, win the region title, and number 3, win the state championship. All 3 goals were met, and the undefeated record was extended to 25. Redbud won the region title with 10 individual region champions and 2 third-place finishers, and the team secured the state championship with a school record 10 state finishers. The state finishers included 3 state champions, 3 runner-ups, 3 third-place finishers, and 1 fourth-place finish. Winning the state championship was a community effort. Redbud wrestled on borrowed mats and wore outdated uniforms until 1978. Several fundraising events, along with generous contributions from individuals, allowed the team to purchase a new mat and new uniforms. The pride that had started with winning matches had brought the small community together. On many nights, the Redbud Dome was filled to capacity to watch the team wrestle. People who had never heard of wrestling just 2 years earlier were now attending home and away matches to support the Cardinals. While records are made to be broken, the 1979 Redbud Cardinal Wrestling Team can be very proud that their state championship still stands as the only wrestling championship in Gordon County's rich history of sports. The Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame is proud to recognize Redbud Cardinal Wrestling State Champions of 1979.
This time I'd ask that the team line up according to your weight class with Coach Caputo first and Renee. Yep. I tell you, Phil Jackson said that the strength of the team is each individual member, and the strength of each member is the team. And some say that soccer is the beautiful game. But what I'd like to point out, because a lot of people are as familiar with wrestling as they are with baseball and football and some of the other sports. the thing that makes wrestling special is that everybody plays the same position, and coaches do not determine who the team is. Every week, a wrestling team will have wrestle-offs. The wrestlers themselves determine who the starting lineup is. When you wrestle, you're on the mat, just you and your opponent. And so if you're not willing to put in the effort, make the sacrifice, then it shows. It's revealed in the way you perform. We are so lucky. We need some people I'd like to thank first are the guys that came along before the team. As Coach Lamb and Coach Henderson, I'm sure, can attest, a championship team is not made in one season. It's a process. It takes buying into the program. It takes somebody planting the seed. Some of the early wrestlers that were successful, it made us believe that we could also be successful, were two brothers, Jeff and Jim Razier, Gary Duke, Daryl Porch, Terry Mulkey, Tommy Moore. These guys were special. They kind of set the bar. Jeff Razier was our first medalist in 1975, and he was our first state champion in 1976. But the person that planted that seed was Coach Wilson. Now, Coach Wilson was not our coach in 1979, but I felt he was definitely part of the process and he needed to be recognized. He believed in the young men at Redbud, Little Redbud High School out here. Very proud school. And so he came on as a football coach. He had a little bit of wrestling background. And he said, I see these young people walk around the halls of Redbud. And he says, they're in school. They seem to be okay. But and we had some really good basketball programs, as Casey's dad can attest to. And in 77 and 78, we had people like Phil Rowland, Nevin Weaver, Kim Owen, really good basketball teams who were successful. But nobody had reached that upper level. And so Coach Wilson had a very simple approach. He figured if we could work on 3 moves from each position and perfect them, then we could be successful. And his motto was always shoot for the stars. But when he left at the end of my junior year, Coach Caputo came on the scene. And in the video it says, Coach Caputo did not have a wrestling background. This man is probably the most competitive person I've ever met. He took a program, and you have to imagine this. This was his first year out of college, right? Mm-hmm. He was the quarterback at Tennessee Tech, another connection. Coach Lamb's son, quarterback at Tennessee Tech. So anyway, what he didn't know, he knew that with the skills that we had learned and with the leadership of like Chuck Buchanan, I was captain, Chuck Buchanan was co-captain, he more or less let us, along with Jim Moore, who cannot be here tonight, kind of head up the training. And he got us physically fit. Now that was, Coach Wilson always had us physically fit, but Coach Caputo carried it just to the next level. And I tell you, it was exciting being a part of that program during that time period. As mentioned in the video, we had 10 people place at state. At today's level, they wrestle 14 weight classes. We wrestled 10. We only had 2 people that didn't place in the top 4 at state that year. So we had become the dominant team. And hopefully this community, is proud, can be proud of what we represented. A couple of notes. In this group, which I think is so important, and the reason I really enjoy being involved in the Sports Hall of Fame, it's about community. We were Cardinals for 4 years of high school. There's Yellow Jackets, there's Phoenix, there's Warriors, and it's you're those, and you have rivalries. But it's after you get out of school, and it's hard to believe it's been 38 years. But you look at the body of work of these people represented. We have so many entrepreneurs up here that own their own businesses. We have accountants that have been written up in the Wall Street Journal. We have missionaries that have gone to Central America. So all of those attributes that these 2 men instilled in us have bared a lot of fruit. And there's a lot of connections. Coach Pitts, Coach Walter Pitts, was the last coach at Redbud High School. His son, Matthew, an inductee, his first experiences were going to watch the Redbud Cardinals wrestle. That's what got him excited. So Frida Hunt, an inductee, probably one of the most well-known individuals out of this county. Casey Baxter, both parents, great basketball players at Redbud. So there's this community, like Scott said, is so special, and it's such an honor. And I want to thank the board on behalf of Chuck Buchanan and the rest of the wrestlers for the opportunity to come together. This has been a great reunion for us. A lot of us have not seen each other since that time. And to allow us to be recognized and to come up here and talk about our little school out in the county. And just real quick, if you allow me, two things. Number one, if you're from Redbud or if you're here with the Redbud contingency, would you stand up? If you went to school at Redbud or if you're with the wrestling team, would you stand up? Thank you. And finally, on a personal note, Keith, if y'all could kind of separate a little bit right there so everybody can see the screen. Yeah. One of the biggest blessings in my life was to come back to Calhoun and have Coach Dale Hales, who's a 4-time state champion. He was the 7th 4-time state champion in the history of Georgia wrestling. And so he asked me if I would help with the Calhoun Middle School wrestling program. So when I showed up, the young men, they were like, "Coach, where did you go to school?" And I said, "I went to Redbud." And they said, "Redbud?" They said, "Coach Hales went to Redbud." And I said, "Yeah, he got 2 of his state championships at Redbud, and then he got 2 state championships at Rockmart." And they said, "Did you ever wrestle him?" And I said, "I wrestled him all the time." They said, "Did you ever beat him?" I said, "I beat him like a drum." I said, "I just wore him out." I said, "If you don't believe me, go ask him." The part that I left out, if you look at me in the funny hat, yeah, that's Coach Hales next to me. He was 13 and I was 18. So, and one other thing, just to demonstrate, to give you a comparison. This is Redbud had a wrestling team from 1975 to 1991. We accumulated 79 individual state medals in that time period. This is just for frame of reference. Calhoun has had a wrestling team for 52 years. They've had 80 medals in 52 years. So that just gives you an idea about the success that we experienced while we was there. It was a lot of fun, and thank you so much for allowing us to come up and share this with you guys.
Chuck Ruth, that was very well done. I think that was a good-looking group, and the things you had to say were remarkable. So appreciate all you guys coming out and all the folks that came to support them. You know, one of the best ideas this Hall of Fame had, I think, was to every year pick a team from the community to honor. You know, there are so many teams. You know, this night is really about 7 individuals, but there's really so many teams that are worthy of recognition in total. And most of our sports are team sports. So we felt that inclusion was a good idea and one that we're proud. So the 1979 Redbud team, congratulations. Appreciate you coming out and being a part of our community. I've asked Matthew Pitts and Frida Hunt Glass to help hand out the awards to the 7 inductees tonight. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Our first inductee tonight is Mr. Jason Bagwell.
Jason Bagwell was a standout baseball and basketball star for Calhoun High School in the late 1970s. He was awarded the Best Defensive Award as a senior basketball player for the Yellow Jackets, but it was baseball where Jason really shined. 4-year starter, Bagwell's skills as a hitter and infielder earned him a scholarship to Shorter College, where he started for 3 years. At Shorter, Jason set school records for highest batting average in one season, most individual hits in a season, and most base on balls. He was a 2-time All-GIAC Conference selection, two-time All-District, an All-Area player, and a NAIA All-American Honorable Mention. He was named Tri-Captain and earned the Joe Hackett Memorial MVP at Shorter. Jason and another Hall of Fame member, Vaughn Robbins, remain the only two players in Shorter college history to bat over 400. Shorter coach Hamp Alexander called Jason's second season the greatest sophomore season I have ever seen. J-Bag signed a professional baseball contract with the Pittsburgh Pirates after his junior year at Shorter College. He went on to graduate from Shorter College with a Bachelor of Science degree in Recreation Management. Bagwell was equally successful in Summer League Baseball as part of the team that won the Stan Musial World Series in Michigan. True to form, Bagwell batted .444 in the series and tied a tournament record set in 1939 by hitting 3 doubles in one game. Jason has been active in the community as a youth league coach, was a past deacon at Calhoun Church of Christ, and has served many charity event volunteer roles. He has 2 children, Kayla Pulliam and Josh Bagwell, son-in-law Dalen Pulliam, daughter-in-law Megan, 2 grandchildren Jackson and Ava Pulliam. Jason now resides in Pine Log with his wife Missy and 2 stepdaughters Molly and Megan. He has multiple business interests in Calhoun. Welcome to the Calhoun Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame, Jason Bagwell.
Thank you. Congratulations, Redbud, state champion wrestlers. Great job, Chuck. After that video debacle, I don't feel so bad if I screw my speech up either. I'm glad y'all are laughing. That makes it a lot easier. It really does. I don't know what it is about us athletes that you put us on the field to play, and we play in front of thousands of people. We're right in our comfort zone. Ask us to stand up and give a speech in front of 250 people, and we want to wet our pants. Jeez. I went on the website before a couple of weeks ago, and I watched a couple of my good buddies, Michael Durham and Mike Nance. I went back and watched their speeches. Michael Durham made a great point when he said that nobody gets to stand right here without a lot of help from a lot of different people. And that's so true. So I'm sorry if it's going to take me a little more than 5 minutes to thank a lot of those people. So, but for those of you that were here last year, I do promise you that my speech will only be about half as long as Mike Nance's. I'm only going to speak about 30 minutes. Just kidding. Great speech, Mike. Love the Howdy Doody story. That was a good one. First of all, I'd like to thank all of the board of directors. I'd especially like to thank Dwayne Bowen, Scott Fletcher, who took an idea and ran with it. They got all the right people together, they put them in the right places, and they made this ideal come to life. Without all the hard work and time that you guys put in, none of this would be possible for any of us, so we really appreciate it. I'd also like to congratulate the first 2 well-deserving classes. And I really thank you for feeling that I was deserving to be in this class of 2017. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Pete Garrigan. He was the first person that came to me and encouraged me to go through the necessary steps to be nominated. And I'm so happy to be able to share this night with my family. And I'd like to quickly introduce those to you. Got my lovely wife, Missy. Wave, Missy. My daughter, Kayla, and her husband, Dalen. My son, Josh, his wife, Megan. And I've got my mother and father-in-law here, Mary Lou and Doug Wilson. Got one of my brothers here, Mike, which I don't know that anybody knows him, but Mike, everybody knows Spud. So Spud and my sister-in-law, Sandy. And I've got two special people that I consider family, Pruny McIntyre and his daughter, Melody West. I'm glad to have them here. My two stepdaughters couldn't be here tonight. One of them, the oldest, Molly, she is moving back into college as we speak. And Megan's actually keeping her two grandbabies tonight, Ava and Jax. My other brother, Johnny, is doing the same thing. He's out of town, moving their youngest daughter, McKenna, back into college, and they couldn't be here. Now, I don't know how many of you grew up being the youngest of three boys, but I can promise you it definitely had its challenges, especially when the oldest brother, that being Spud, found great joy in terrorizing his younger brothers. Now, he had his way with Johnny for several years before I came along. But when I got about 5 years old, he turned his full attention to me. He collaborated with Johnny and says, look, we got to do something about little brother. He's become Mom's favorite. This kid's going to be dead weight for us to have to carry the rest of his life. We need to get rid of him. So Spud decides he is going to practice his fine art of suffocation on me. He'd wait till I was fast asleep. He'd come in and jump straddle me in the bed with a pillow and clamp it down over my face. That's not funny. He would do so until the kicking subsided, and then he would pull the pillow off and look at me and see what color of blue I was, and then clamp it back down again. This went on, we're not sure how long this went on, but the only thing that saved me was Mom walked in one day, and sure enough, he was straddling me, and he seen her coming just long enough to take the pillow off my face. And she comes in and she says, "What are you doing? What's wrong with him?" So I says, I don't know, Mom. He said, "I think he's choking on something." Only thing I was choking on was pillow feathers. But to this, the problem is the damage had already been done. Because, to this very day, I cannot do anything that would remotely restrict my breathing. That includes scuba diving. I tried that one time in a shallow end of a swimming pool, like to drown, before I could get all that junk off my face. Tried snorkeling. No, can't do that either. So, thank you, Spud. But I do appreciate my two brothers. So that's where I learned really how to play sports, because that's all we did was play out in the front yard every day, all day. We were playing football, we was playing baseball, softball, basketball. We were playing some kind of sport. And playing with two older brothers, that taught me real quick that I had to be tough. It's also where I gained my competitive spirit. I learned that I hated to lose. When your desire to win becomes so much greater than your acceptance of losing, then you're going to do one of three things. You're going to quit, or you're going to expect and accept losing, or you're going to work your tail off to get better. The first two of those were never an option for me. They would not let me quit. And I was certainly never going to accept losing. So all I could do was work my tail off to get better. And they pushed me to do that. And the best example that I can give of how that helped me later in life was when I was in high school. Now, I don't know, probably not hardly any of you know that when I was a junior in high school, I got cut from the varsity basketball team. Didn't make it. So I could have very easily quit right then and give up on basketball. But that's where those competitive juices kicked in again from my childhood. So I went to the rec every day, practiced, worked my tail off, came back senior year and tried out, and not only made the team, but I practiced and worked myself into being a starter. So I was always proud of that story later in life because it reverts back to what I learned as a child. I'd like to thank Coach Phil Robbins, who had enough confidence in a little 14-year-old kid that he started him on the varsity at second base his freshman year. Also like to thank Stevie Robbins, who took over for Phil. And Stevie probably forgot more baseball than I ever knew. I played all 4 years of high school and played well enough to earn a scholarship to Shorter College under the legendary coach Hamp Alexander. Now, every single person that has ever played for Coach Alexander has got some stories, I'll assure you. And I have one, and I'll try to make it quick, but it's too good not to tell. It's my freshman year, and I'm starting at third base. And it's early in the season. It's only like the third or fourth game. It's our first home game. Now, keep in mind that at this time, I'm dating Sabrina, which is Hamp's stepdaughter. So we're taking infield, pregame infield, and the last ball that he would hit you, you know, you would want to catch it and you would fire that thing home and then run off the field. Well, he hits me one, the other teams are, you know, outside the dugout right there beside them, and they're watching us take infield, and naturally, you know, you want to show your arm off to the other team. So he hits it, and I come up and I fire that thing with everything I got, and when I did, I could see it. It began to tail off away from the catcher. Hamp never seen it coming. He'd already looked to the catcher to get the next ball to hit to the shortstop, but it caught him flush, and I do mean flush, on the inside of his thigh and high. I'm running off the field, and he's bent over, and he's sending some pleasantries my way. I'm running off the field, and 2 or 3 of the guys come out of the dugout and has towels in their mouths, just crying, laughing. And I'm yet to find the humor in this. I go off to the very end of the dugout, sit down, sitting there contemplating what had just happened, thinking, you know, I'm never going to get back on the field again. And somebody walks up, and I look up, and it's one of our senior captains. He looks at me and says, "Jason, for your sake, I hope you have the best game you've ever played." Quite pressure. Well, we played the game, we won the game. Next day at practice, Hamp's addressing us. We're all in the dugout, and he's talking to us. And just right in the middle of a sentence, he looks at me and he stops what he's saying. He reaches down, he's got on his coaching shorts, he pulls the leg of that short up, his pants leg, whatever it is. He pulls it up, and his leg is about 8 shades of black and blue. And this being a family setting, I can't tell you the first part of what he said to me. But the second part was that Jason, son, he said, I don't know when or if there will ever be a good time for you to come back to the house. But I can assure you that this weekend will not be good. So I didn't go back that weekend, and I never went back. There's 4 people that would be here tonight, sitting right down here, so proud to be here to share this honor with me. One of those 4 would be my mom, the biggest supporter that I've ever had in my life. Didn't matter whether I was 5 for 5 or I was 0 for 5, made 2 errors in the field, didn't matter. Her love and her support was unwavering. Another would be my dad. My dad gave me every opportunity and advantage possible to stay one step ahead of the competition. As far as I know, I was the only kid in Gordon County that grew up with a batting cage and a batting machine in his front yard. They traveled from Florida to Michigan, South Carolina to Arkansas to watch me play and to support me when I played. Another one of those would be Jackie McIntyre. Jackie was like a second mom to me. Her house was always full of us boys, and she loved every minute of it. The last of these 4 would be my lifelong best friend, Greg McIntyre. As all of you know, March 1st of this year, we lost Greg during a heart surgery. It was a devastating blow to so many of us who loved Greg. I think of him and I miss him every single day. When Mr. Garrigan came to me about going through the process and to get someone to nominate me, I didn't even think about calling anybody else except Greg. And he was more than happy to be my nominator. So, without all of these people in my life, and especially these 4 who have blessed me with their presence, I dare say that I would not be standing here tonight. Thank you.
Next on the list is Miss Stacy Miller Banks.
Stacy Miller Banks was a multi-sport star at Gordon Central High School who went on to achieve great success as a college basketball player for Valdosta State University. As a high school athlete, Stacy has won many awards in basketball, softball, and track. 4-year letterman in all 3 sports, she was a Rome News Tribune All-Area Team Selection, All-Region Tournament MVP, and Northwest Georgia Tip-Off Player of the Year in 1990, 91, and 1992. Miller Banks holds the Gordon Central record for most points in a season and a career, most free throws in a career, and most rebounds in a game and career. Her record for most points in a game, 39, held for over 15 years. She was a 3-year team captain and a Calhoun Times Player of the Year for the 1991-92 seasons. In softball, Stacy had a batting average her senior year of .409 and was named to the Chattanooga Free Press All-Area Team in 1992. She was a Rome News Tribune All-Area Team Selection and a Calhoun Times All-Area Team Selection for her junior and senior years. She was voted most athletic female by her senior class at Gordon Central and was inducted into the first Hall of Fame class of Gordon Central High School. As a college basketball player at Valdosta State, Miller Banks was a 4-year letterman and part of the 1995 Eastern Division champions. Her team made it to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA Division II National Tournament. Among the individual awards Stacy won were the Coaches Award and Team Hustle Award. Coach Banks was an assistant for Gordon Central basketball from 2008 to 2010 and is the current assistant coach for Calhoun Middle School. She will also be an assistant girls basketball coach this starting season. Stacy is a 5th grade teacher at Calhoun Elementary School and is married to Brian Banks. They have 3 children, Hagan, Molly, and Jackson, all of whom are active in several sports. Welcome to the Calhoun Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame, Stacy Miller Banks.
I'm a little nervous, sorry. Having to follow up Jason, which is kind of ironic because he was one of my rec league basketball coaches at the Calhoun Rec. I titled this Sacrifice and Love for the Game because when I was not nominated and inducted, I started thinking about what I wanted to be the point of coming up here and sharing with you guys what this means to me. And then I get here and I see so many people talking about community and what everyone has done to put this together. It's incredible how my speech is tied in with what a lot of us are already thinking. I want to make sure to thank the board for putting this Hall of Fame together. I think it's amazing to have this in our community, something for our athletes to work for. It's an honor to be standing up here tonight amongst such a talented group of athletes and coaches. Thank you all for choosing me to be a part of the Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you to this wonderful community for always supporting me during my career and even now. Since being announced that I was to be inducted, I've received phone calls, text messages, and Facebook messages congratulating me. I even had several hundred likes and comments on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I noticed that it was a lot of the same people that watched me play in high school and who also supported me all the way through to college. Many were friends that would ride to ball games with my mom when my dad couldn't go. I remember this one parent who actually got thrown out of several basketball games for yelling at the refs for me. His daughter was a cheerleader. She didn't even play basketball. But he told me that he loved the game of basketball and he loved watching me play. Through my high school and college career, I often thought of this community and how I never wanted to let you down. Because of this, I feel that it's so important to make sure that we continue to grow and support our young athletes that we're sending off to school to represent us. We want them to one day return and keep the tradition going. I believe that there also should be a Parent Hall of Fame for each one of us now Hall of Famers. If it weren't for mine, then I'm sure I wouldn't even be up here. I want to thank my mom for introducing me to basketball and her love of the game. She would go into the backyard daily and shoot with me and help me to improve my game. Before starting my high school career, my mom gave me a St. Christopher's charm to put in my shoe. She said that it would remind me that her and Dad were always there to watch over me and take care of me. I kept that charm in every shoe of every game in my career. I never missed a game due to injury my entire athletic career. My mom and Dad drove me all over the county, state, and country following my dream. They were sacrificing for my love of the game. There were countless life lessons that were learned on the road as we traveled from games to camps to workouts. The lessons learned in that blue station wagon have stayed with me forever. My parents never negatively discussed coaches or parents or players in front of us. They probably did parents. My dad would often say, some of the best teams and athletes will get destroyed at the dinner table. One thing that was always certain was that they had my back. They were always there for me. My parents gave me their undying support, even when I felt I didn't deserve it. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for always putting my dreams first. When I was a junior at Gordon Central, I became very sick at school with a really bad cold. I was running a fever, coughing, sneezing, and the nurse called my mom to come pick me up. Mom waited till 11:30 so that I would be counted present because she knew me so well. She knew that I did not want to miss a game or let my team down. She took me home, made me some special soup, nursed me back amongst the living. When she took me back to the school, she said, "Stacy, everyone knows how sick you are. If you can't play, it'll be okay." I said, I have to. I can't let my team down. And if I could just get through this one game, that I would let her take me to the doctor and they could do whatever they wanted to do. She kissed me on the forehead and said, "Well, go get them then." I did. We beat a very tough West Rome team with a girl that was 6'2". That's who I had to guard. I scored 39 points that game. I was out of school for the next 3 days with bronchitis and pneumonia. That was the night I set my first school record. I am the youngest and the only girl of Ronnie and Pat Miller from Plainville, Georgia. Yep, 4 boys and then me. If you think your house was entertaining, you should have come to mine. Growing up with 4 boys, I had no choice but to be tough. It wasn't easy being the only girl. I had to play whatever they wanted to play, which usually was football. And yes, my early dreams were to be a quarterback. Steve Barkowski was my hero. That didn't work out, so I settled for being their mascot. I was the first Calhoun Yellow Jacket mascot. My mom made my costume, and every Friday night I was on the sidelines cheering on my brothers, Coach Smith, and the Calhoun Yellow Jackets. Thank you, Andy, Mike, Kenny, and Jody, for making my childhood so memorable and for making me tough as nails. Thank you, Jody and his family, for being here tonight. It means the world to me. Basketball and sports in general taught me so many life lessons, but also created so many great memories. In high school, I played softball, basketball, track, and was a student athletic trainer for the football team. I made lifelong friends at summer camps where we would stay up playing cards. Softball, basketball trips where Leah Parker Roach would serenade us on the bus. Or carpooling with Max and Pam Scott and skeet angling in my parents' custom van to and from practices and games. We didn't realize it at the time, but we were all a part of a village, a community, as you say. A village of super moms who kept us in line and encouraged us through the good times and the bad. I now have the privilege of coaching and teaching some of my former teammates' children, teammates that I respected, and I firmly believe that I was good at sports because I had great teammates to play with. I was actually supposed to go to Calhoun Middle School and high, just like my brothers, but Coach J.B. Bearden was the reason that I went to Gordon Central. I wanted to play for the winningest coach in Georgia. He was old school, and we focused on fundamentals daily, but he was essentially preparing me for the next level. He taught me to be a triple threat. I was an aggressive scorer, a beast rebounding, and deadly at the free throw line. One year we had a free throw fundraiser, and I shot 98 out of 100 free throws. Coach Bearden taught me so much about the game of basketball and life. He taught me to always be thinking of my next move, to read my defense and to think like them. Outsmart them and out-hustle your opponent, and no matter what their size, you can beat them. He passed his love of the game on to me, and I never looked back. I signed a full scholarship to play basketball at Valdosta State University in Valdosta, Georgia. Well, I say full scholarship. One year the parking decals went up 75 cents. The athletic department had already cut its check, so they sent my parents a bill for 75 cents. Mom wigged out, afraid that I was going to get kicked out of school, called the school and said, "What do you want, 3/4 or a check?" They said it was an oversight and not to worry about it. My greatest moments in sports was not a bunch of statistics, a championship, or even setting records during my career. I don't even remember most of them. I just wanted to win. Matter of fact, they never stopped the game and gave me a basketball with 1,000 points on it. I didn't even know they did that back then. That was never important to me. One of my greatest moments in sports was earning the Hustle Award my junior season at Valdosta State University. I learned and grew so much during that junior season. I grew as a person, as an athlete, and a teammate. My first 2 years of college basketball was very difficult. I was struggling to adjust being a little fish in a big pond. I became discouraged. I didn't think I was good enough to play anymore. I wanted to quit. At the beginning of my junior year, we got a new coach, Jane Williamson, who actually played against Frida Hunt because she referenced you a lot at practice. She came in and told us that we had 1 year to prove ourselves or we would be packing our bags. I knew I couldn't do that. I would be letting down my parents, my family, my former coaches, teammates, and my community. But then I remembered something my parents had always said to me. You may not always get what you want, but you will always get what you work for. I called home and told them about the situation, and they said, go out there, Stacy, give it everything you have. Leave it all on the court. And when it's all said and done, have no regrets. That way, no matter what happens, you can hold your head high and know that you did all that you could do. So I went to work. I practiced every day. Every time the gym was open, I was there. When it was not, I went to the outside courts. I ran and I shot every day. I began my season on the second string. At practice, I scrapped and fought daily against the starters to get better. And I did. I soon realized that if I was on the court playing against the starters, I was getting better, the starters were getting better, and my coach could actually see what I could do. Eventually, I became a starter, and the first time they called my name to take the court as a starter, I ran through the huddle, slapping my teammate's hand, and the bench erupted in cheers for me. My hard work and determination had earned me the respect of my teammates. That season, we made it to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA Division II National Championship. And at the end of the season, my coach awarded me the Hustle Award. Coach Williamson commented on my drive, my aggressiveness, and my work ethic. She said, Miller is not as fast or as tall as I would like for her to be, but she's tough as nails and I would put her up against anyone. My senior year, I continued to push myself further than I ever thought I could, both physically and mentally, on the court. At my final basketball banquet, I was awarded the Coach's Award. I was then asked to stay on as a student assistant for the team for the upcoming season while I finished up my degree. This was the moment that I fell in love with coaching. During the time that I was struggling, my parents could have played the blame game or made excuses, but they never did. They were preparing me for real life. They were giving me the tools and support that I needed to fall, but then learn to pick myself back up. Thank you again, Mom, for sacrificing your time and for always having my back, for always supporting me and being my biggest fan. I am now a teacher and a coach at Calhoun, and I have the opportunity to share my love of sports and all that I learned through the years with the youth of this community. I hope that I have made an impression on my students and my players to keep working hard and to be good people, make their mark in this world, and write their own story. Again, thank you all for voting me into this Hall of Fame and making me a part of such an elite group of people. The only thing missing tonight is my dad. He should be here for this. Thank you, Dad. You would have loved seeing your girl being recognized for all of her hard work and accomplishments. I hope I've made you proud. I am forever grateful that basketball took me to Valdosta, because that is where I was able to meet the love of my life. When Brian and I met, I knew we'd eventually be married. Matter of fact, I called my mom and said, I met the man I'm going to marry. And she said, I think you're crazy. And I said, probably so, but I'm going to marry him. He doesn't know it yet, but we're going to get married. We wanted so many of the same things for ourselves and for our future family. One night, while we were preparing for the birth of our first child, we made a decision. Brian and I both have learned from two awesome sets of parents about the meaning of sacrifice. We decided that we would do whatever we could to give our children the same opportunities that were given to us, that they would come first, and that we would sacrifice whatever it took to nurture their love of the game. We spend a lot of weekends at the ball fields, a lot of late nights driving home from practice in Atlanta, and we miss out on a lot of other stuff with family and friends. However, they are chasing their dreams now, and we're going to support them all the way through it. Thank you, Brian. You are my rock, my everything. We make the best team there is now, Team Banks. We both sacrifice daily to give our children the same opportunities that was given to us. We have shared our love of the game with our kids, and we're trying to give them the tools and support they will need down the road. I wouldn't want to play this game of life with anyone else. Thank you, Hagan, Molly, and Jackson. Molly is not with us tonight. She is at her softball banquet for her travel team, the GAP organization, actually receiving an award that is worthy of her sacrifice and her love of the game. She is being honored tonight as the Player of the Year for her age division. My 3 children are my reason for everything. You are my game-winning shot, my three-pointer, my slam dunk, my home run, my national championship. Thank you for being the awesome kids that you are and for making my world entertaining and busy. You are amazing athletes, teammates, and children. You make Brian and I very proud to be your parents. I want to thank God for blessing me with the talent and skills to follow my dreams. He continues to bless me in my life way more than I ever deserve. But tonight, before I leave this stage, I want to challenge each one of you. Pass on your love of the game to someone else. Influence your children, your students, your players, in the words of Jason Hawkins, to be good people. Teach them to respect their coaches. Teach them to respect their teammates. Teach them to respect the game. Challenge them on every aspect of the game. Push them to reach their full potential and beyond. Help them work through the slumps, because mistakes aren't mistakes if you learn from them. Strength doesn't come from what we can do. It comes from overcoming the things you once thought you couldn't do. If you do this, then in several years, this banquet of Hall of Famers will be full. Thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you.
Okay, next we have Mr. Casey Baxter.
Casey Baxter is one of the most revered all-around athletes in Calhoun High School's history. A 4-sport high school athlete, Baxter's awards were numerous. In basketball, he was named 2001 and 2002 AJC First Team All-State, as well as named the AJC and GSWA AA State Player of the Year in 2002. He was the 2001 Chattanooga Times Free Press Area Player of the Year, the 2002 Tri-State Area Player of the Year, and 2002 AJC Regional 7AA Player of the Year. Baxter is the all-time leading scorer in Calhoun basketball and was the 2002 Northwest Georgia Tip-Off Club Player of the Year. 3-year letterman in baseball, Baxter was the Defensive Player of the Year for the 2000 state champions Calhoun Yellow Jackets. As a high school football player, he earned the Permanent Team Captain Award, was a 2001 First Team All-State selection, and was a Chattanooga Times Free Press All-Area Wide Receiver. Baxter was a key player for Calhoun's success as region champs in Elite 8 appearance. He was a 5-event participant and letterman on the track team. He was a 2002 finalist for the Chattanooga Times Free Press Scrappy Moore Athlete of the Year and Calhoun High's Wendy's High School Heisman representative. Casey earned a scholarship to play football at Furman University. After redshirting his freshman year, he transferred to Shorter College, where he was awarded a scholarship to play basketball. There, he was a 3-year starter. He was named the Southern States Athletic Conference Freshman of the Year, was a 2-time All-Conference team selection, and was the 2005-2006 Northwest Georgia Tip-Off Club Team Player of the Year. Coach Baxter was head coach of the Calhoun High School basketball team from 2007 through 2010, and he led his teams to sub-region championships in 2 years. He was named Northwest Georgia Tip-Off Club Coach of the Month. He has served as assistant coach at Ashworth Middle School and Sonorville Middle School as well. Baxter now teaches physical education at Sonorville Elementary School. Casey and his wife Connie have 4 kids, Caroline, Charlie, Cal, and Claire. Today he enjoys coaching his kids in multiple sports. His parents are Brian and Vicki Baxter, and he has 3 brothers, Andy, Eric, and Corey. Welcome to the Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame, Casey Baxter.
Good evening. I'm appreciative. I'm humbled to be up here tonight. I ran into Jason earlier in the week at the tennis courts, and he told me, "You ready for the speech?" And I said, "Well, it's only 5 minutes, Jason." And he said, "Mine's going to be a little bit longer." So, Jason, you did a great job. Stacy, you did too. It's an honor to be up here, and there are a lot of people that make an impact on your lives for you to be up here. And I want to thank some of those people, and I'm thankful for the board putting this on. It's a great thing. It's a neat thing. You know, Ann Gallman, seeing her accomplishments, I would have never known that. She took up tickets for all these years at Calhoun basketball games, and little did I know. You know, and I have a story about you later, Ann, but it's coming. But I'm thankful to be up here. I'm excited, and I appreciate y'all. Whoever nominated me, voted for me, put me in this position. But really, it's the people that made an impact on my life is the reason I'm up here today. And I want to thank a few of those people. I'm probably the only one that had 3 coaches between Coach Hal Lamb, Coach Chip Henderson, and Coach Ray Tucker. I'm blessed to play for some great coaches that made a great impact on my life. I'm blessed as a rec league player playing for people like Billy Dills and playing with the Robbins boys in baseball and their dads coaching. And I had some great teams I was a part of, and many great players I played with and came through Calhoun High School with. And I'm thankful for all those impacts those people made on my life. But when I think about it, I start thinking about my brothers growing up. I grew up with 3 brothers in the house. And, you know, Andy, I'm trying to catch up with his fame, you know, with the photography business. And I'm nominating him. You know, he's got great hand-eye coordination to get those pictures. But we always were competitive at home. And our house was the living room was a ball court, a baseball field, and a football field. We played tackle football inside. My parents, I don't see how we didn't break everything in there. But that's how they liked it. That's what we did. And there was 2 things you could count on. We were all going to want to win, and there was going to have to be a loser, but Corey usually got upset and quit. But that's part of being the youngest brother. And you know what the bad thing was, though? We wrestled, too. You know, the Red Bud wrestlers. I grew up in Red Bud. And we played different rules, though. My dad's rule was we stop when somebody says I quit. So Corey would never give up. I tried to beat him up, and I would give up if he put any pain on me. So he was tougher than I was, even though he was my younger brother. But I'm thankful for those brothers that put me, gave me the competitive spirit that I have. I can say without a doubt that a lot of it came from them, and I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. And I have one brother that would love to be here, but he's not. I also have to say thank you to my parents, though. Without them, their love for me, my mom, she's always been there for me. It's just supported us, whatever we did, made sacrifices, even when we didn't have a lot of money to do things. My dad did the same things. And, you know, I told you I was going to tell you a little Ann Gallman story. Here it is. She's the ticket lady, and she probably can attest to this. But I remember we didn't have much. We were farmers. My dad was a farmer. And some years were good, some were bad. Must have been a bad year. I remember when I was like 5 or 6 going to the Calhoun High School basketball game on a Friday night, and they're like, if we can collect $5 in coins, we can go to the game. Go look under the cushions everywhere. We're searching the house for $5 just to go to the basketball game. When you have 4 boys, I guess, you know, by the time we get there and we ate food, whatever, we didn't have much money. But when we get there, and I remember Daddy telling my mom, all right, you get Corey. Corey, act like you're asleep. Casey, act like you're asleep. And we walked in. We got some free tickets, but we loved the basketball. We didn't go, and the rule was if we go to the game, you're going to watch it. You don't play. So we sat there and watched the whole thing. We took it in, and we had a great time going to all these basketball games, football games, and all these different events. And my parents, they said, my dad set a vision. He would take us to state tournament games, and he would look up these people and tell us about these people. Hey, you want to be like this guy one day. And we went to basketball camps, and I know it took sacrifice of money and time and probably stuff we didn't have, but that's a big reason why I'm up here today. But I do want to say a special thank you to my dad. Growing up, his dad didn't let him play any sports. And we're blessed in this community to have such access to a lot of sports. But my dad was a farmer. Like I said, my granddad was a farmer, J.D. Baxter. Some of you might have remembered him back in the day. But his quote was, sports is going to ruin this world. Not North Korea, sports. It's going to ruin this world. That's how, and he would come knocking on our windows at 5 a.m., hey, sometimes, and like, hey, y'all need to get out of bed, quit being lazy, and, come work. But my dad's idea was, hey, if you'll play sports, I won't make you work, type thing. But my dad didn't get to play but one sport when he was in high school, and he got to choose it his junior and senior year, and he chose basketball. But he would have loved to play at everything, so he gave us the opportunity to play anything we wanted. And I think a lot of my love for sports came from that. And I want to say thank you to my dad as well. There's two things I never doubted growing up. My dad, I never doubted that he loved me every day of my life. I never had to doubt how much he loved me too. I always believed my dad loved me more than any other kid was loved. I know that. I believed it. He believed in me more than I believed in myself. He would tell me, I could take these people. I'm saying, Daddy, I'm not sure if I can take that person. Like in basketball, you're playing against Mike Dean that's going to the University of Georgia. And he would tell me, son, you're better than he is. And you know what? I know I'm not, but my dad believed it, and he made me believe it. And I didn't back down from anybody. And a lot of that was because of my dad. And I do want to say thank you, Daddy, and thank you, Mama, for all y'all did. I do want to say this as well. My dad taught me, that there's a scripture, 1 Corinthians 9:24, that says this. Do you not know that all runners run a race, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way to get the prize. And, my dad taught me to run in such a way to get the prize. And the prize isn't being up here tonight. The prize isn't getting all-state. The prize wasn't the state championship baseball team or playing in the state championship in basketball. All that was great, and that's what I remember as my team, the teams I was a part of. But the prize was Jesus. And I'm thankful that my dad instilled those godly values in me to show me that, while this is great, this is not what life's all about. And I'm appreciative of that. I want to say thank you to my wife, my 4 kids. God has truly blessed me with a great wife. If you don't know her, Connie. There was a Calhoun Times article when I came home from Furman, and it said Baxter leaves Furman for his first love, because they're playing on the Furman football, going to shorter college basketball, because everybody kind of expected me to play basketball in college. And they say I returned to first love, and it's talking about my love for basketball, but they didn't know I was returning to Connie. We got married a couple years later, but I knew I was going to marry her, and I love my kids. And when you coach your kids, there's something special when your kid makes a great play or does something. There's some type of joy you get that you can't get when you play. Like I could score a touchdown, score 30 points in the state championship game, and it doesn't matter. You know why? It doesn't mean as much to me as when I see my kid smiling from ear to ear because they got a steal in basketball. There's some joy you get in that. But I want to say thank you. I know what it's like for my dad. I appreciate all you've done for me. Love y'all, and God bless y'all.
All right, next we have Miss Ann Rogers-Kalman.
Ann Rogers-Gallman was a legendary basketball player for Calhoun High School who is still actively discussed today for her shooting skills. She was twice named to the 3AA Regional All-Tournament team and was the first forward in the history of Calhoun High School to make All-State. Rogers-Gallman was a 3-year letter winner and broke 3 school records during her career: 940 points in a single season, 41 points in a single game, and total career points of 2,068. She holds many records from her era of women's basketball. She was a co-captain and all-area top scorer. She once made an incredible 100 free throws in a row without a miss, and played on some successful Calhoun teams as well, including one 3AA region championship, 2 3AA region runner-up titles. As a senior, Ann averaged 29.4 points a game during a time when there were no three-point lines or a two-shot free throw after the 10th foul. She played against fellow Hall of Famer Frida Hunt Glass from Redbud High School. Ann Rogers-Gallman has been an active volunteer as a youth basketball coach and Cub Scout den leader, 25-plus year member of Echota Baptist Church, where she has served as children's Sunday school teacher, organist, secretary, and vacation Bible school worker. She has been a member of Calhoun First Baptist Church as well for the past 30 years, and attended Liberty School through the 8th grade and earned the Perfect Attendance Award 6 years and had 4 years perfect attendance at Calhoun High School. She retired from Calhoun City Schools after a total of 30 years of service. She has served as gatekeeper for the past 28 years for softball, football, basketball, and baseball games at Calhoun High and Middle Schools respectively, and resides in Calhoun with her husband Donald Gallman. They have 2 sons, Anthony and Brent Gallman, who have families of their own. Welcome to the Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame, Ann Rogers-Gallman.
Well, I guess you can tell I'm not nervous, but I am. I am so honored to be standing here tonight, and yes, Casey Baxter, I knew that you were not asleep. I guess I'm going to tell on myself tonight, and Coach Lamb's going to know this, but you know, there's a lot of people that come up to the gate and they give me all these little stories. I'm short of this 75 cents, or he's only 4 because we charge for 5 and up, and me standing there looking at them knowing that they're more than 4 years old. But I guess I've got a big heart, and I won't argue with them. I'll say, just go on in. But anyway, and it's also good to see 2 Hall of Famers here tonight, Frida Hunt Glass and Diane Crocker-Smith. I had the privilege of playing basketball with them at the rec department, in which we won a state championship. And ladies, it was so much fun playing with you all. And playing basketball was my life. I loved every second of it. I grew up shooting hoops on a tree with only a rim nailed to that tree with no net and no backboard. And believe you me, I chased a lot of balls that ricocheted from that tree. A few highlights of my career that come to mind is when Calhoun played Redbud, and I say Ann Frida Hunt. The gym was always packed with fans, standing everywhere to watch us play. Many times when the girls' game was over, it seemed that the majority of the fans would leave and not stay for the boys' game. And it was this way whether we played at Calhoun or at Redbud. And I remember an article written to the former editor, J. Roy McGinty, with the Calhoun Times from John McCarthy in Chicago, Illinois, saying, "My son, a basketball player of some note, has been particularly interested in your girls' teams. We don't have that sort of thing up here, and I'm afraid the likes of Miss Hunt and Miss Rogers would make some of our boys' teams look sick." So, I like that pretty good. Another highlight was being the first forward in the history of Calhoun High School to make the All-State team, and also being chosen to the All-Region and All-Tournament team for tournament play was a big honor for me as well. And I did have a personal goal of making that 100 free throws without missing, and that meant a lot to me. And sometimes I look back and I think, I wish I had gone on just to see how far past the 100 I could have gone. But it was required of us to shoot 100 free throws after every practice, and you were so tired you were ready to go home, so you ended at 100. I hold 3 records today which were made possible with the help of my great teammates. Scoring the 41 points in a single game and the 940 points in a single season and a total of 2,068 points in my career. I never missed a game, and I definitely would never let anyone know that I wasn't feeling well. I loved playing basketball. The love of the game made me believe I could have played 24/7. After the article, The Lady in the Ticket Booth, written by Ronnie Reeves and published in the Calhoun magazine, I had numerous people to tell me they had no idea I even played basketball, or even if they knew I could shoot a basketball. And by the way, I look forward to selling you all your tickets in the upcoming school year events. I love seeing the people, and that I know a lot of faces. I don't know your names a lot of times, but I've seen you come to so many games. I feel like I do know who you are, and I'm always delighted to see you. I thank God for giving me this talent and work ethic that helped me to achieve this honor of being inducted into the Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank Sandra Hall for nominating me, the Board of Directors for all the work they do, the support and encouragement given me by the community, and my coach, the late Bubba Faulkner, for believing in me and instilling in me to do my very best. And my family, some of them are here tonight. It's my husband, Doug, my older son, Anthony, and his wife, Kim, granddaughter, Savannah, and grandson, Jonah, my younger son, Brent, and his wife, Misty, with my grandson, Joshua, grandson, Andrew, granddaughter, Emily, and for my special friends that are here tonight, Jerry and Carol Quinn, and Frank and Sandra Hall. I definitely want to thank my mother, whom I'm sure has a big smile on her face looking down from heaven at this moment, for all of her support, even though she didn't get to watch but only few of my games each year. I knew she was proud of her daughter because of the sacrifices she had made for us to get the Rome News-Tribune paper so that I could have the basketball articles for my scrapbook. After my high school basketball career was over, my mother called the Rome News-Tribune paper carrier to cancel the paper. And the paper carrier said to my mom, "Now let me see. I believe you're canceling this paper just because your daughter's high school career is over." And my mother, of course, said, "Yes, sir." And to close tonight, I would like to encourage everyone, young or old, to strive to do your very best at whatever you attempt in life. And I thank you very, very much for voting me into the Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame and the confidence that you have placed in me. Thank you.
Next up, Mr. Barry Hall.
When it comes to sports legends, Barry Hall still looms large at Gordon Central. As a senior football star, Hall led the Warriors to the state quarterfinals, the deepest playoff berth in school history. Gordon Central retired Hall's football jersey, the first and only football jersey to be retired in the school's history. That day, September 28, 2001, was officially proclaimed Barry Hall Day by the mayor of Calhoun. Barry's on-the-field success led to the full athletic scholarship to Middle Tennessee State University. After redshirting his freshman year, Hall started every football game in his career. His leadership abilities earned him team captain honors both his junior and senior year. He was an all-conference all-conference selection his sophomore and junior year, and an all-independent selection his senior year, an all-American candidate his senior year, and ranked in the top 20 offensive tackles going into the 2001 NFL Draft. Hall was awarded the Academic Athlete Scholarship his first 2 semesters in college and was on the Student Advisory Committee in college as well. Barry's wife, Krista, said, "One of my proudest moments was when Barry became the first college graduate in his family." Barry credits football for keeping him focused on his academic goals and credits his participation on the track team for teaching him perseverance. He went on to earn a master's degree as well. Barry earned a place on the roster of the NFL football Tennessee Titans in 2001. Following an injury in 2002, Hall went on to the Houston Texans during their expansion year and finished his NFL career with the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2003. Coach Hall returned to his alma mater, where he spent the next 12 years coaching football for the Warriors. He was part of the coaching staff for 6 of Gordon Central's 7 playoff berths as a coach or player. Hall has worked with adaptive physical education for 9 years, has volunteered for Special Olympics, and has supported other charities such as Relay for Life and Jump Rope for Heart. Hall and his wife Krista created Coach's Closet at Gordon Central, which is a closet for clothes for Gordon Central students in need. An average of 9 students uses the closet weekly. Barry now coaches the offensive line for the defending state champion Rome High School. Barry and his wife Krista both teach at Rome High School, and they have 2 daughters, Ainsley, age 9, and Marley, who is 7 years old. Welcome to the Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame, Barry Hall.
First of all, I'm not a speaker. I'm a ball player, so if I say something I screw up, I apologize. I heard Miss Galman and Stacy talking all this talk about free throws. I hold a record at Gordon Central for free throws. I think I missed 100 consecutive free throws in a row. Norris Hall used to work me every day about shooting free throws, and that wasn't my thing. And you know, Casey, I knew you went and played football for a while, and you know, basketball is my first love. Me and my brother played in the yard all the time, and a coach from the University of Georgia pulled me to the side because I like an idiot. I said, "Coach, I want to play college basketball." And he was like, "Barry, are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good." And he was like, "Barry, how many 6'6", 300-pound white guys you know playing the NBA?" I said, "None." He said, "Well, how many 6'6", 300-pound white guys you know playing the NFL?" So I don't know any, but I'm sure there's a few. You need to stick with football, son. So that's kind of made my route easier. The good Lord made my route to go with football. So I'm proud I chose that way, and I want to thank the Hall of Fame for electing me. And I think it's amazing. You know, I hear all the people talk about the community in Calhoun, and there truly is a great community here. I mean, we've moved to Rome, and one thing we miss is that close-knit community that Calhoun has, and they support. You know, everybody has your own team, but when it's all together, you want your local kids to do well, and that's one thing they have here. I wrote a speech. We're going to work on this. I did have an amazing career, and I'm proud of it. From an early age, I grew up out in Snorville. Before the Snorville wreck was there, they had 2 little ball fields, and if you went by there during basketball season, I was at the old rock gym. If it was during football season, we was on one of the little baseball fields, and whatever sport was in season, I wanted to play. If it was basketball season, I thought I was going to be in the NBA. Baseball season, I was going to play baseball. Football season, I was going to be in the NFL. So whatever happened, whatever sport it was, is what I wanted to play. I had a great career at Gordon Central. It was fun. We broke a few records. You know, we were decent in football. The Coach Lamb came around, and the dang dynasty started. Now everybody's Calhoun. But we won a couple of 10 games one year. We were fired up about that in the county. That was big time for us. We beat Dalton in November, I think 18th, 1995, first time in 25 years. A team from Gordon County had beat Dalton. We beat them at Dalton. Coach Chappell's last game. That was a memory that I'll have forever. We had a lot of fun, didn't we? Probably too much fun in high school, didn't we, Mama? I had to call Mama and Daddy several times to come get me. But anyway, when I went to college, my eyes were open to sacrifice and that you make for your sport and your school and your teammates. And we had a saying in my O-line. I played offensive line, OWA, O-W-U-A. And if you know any successful offensive lineman, it stands for overworked and underappreciated. If you hear an offensive lineman's name called out on the loudspeaker or the TV, they screwed up, right? So, that's what we stood for. Overworked. We didn't want to get publicity. We didn't want to get our name called or none of that stuff. But we worked together as a family. College was tough at times. I wanted to come home often. I might have called home and crying a couple times a week. And it took Mom and Daddy and my girlfriend to come up a couple times a week to talk me into staying that first semester, but it was good. I know by sticking through it, I had a chance to change my life, all right? And changing my life, I was the second person in my family to graduate, along with my cousin Keisha. That meant something to me, because when I left here, a lot of people told me I wouldn't make it. You won't make it to the first semester, you'll come home, da-da-da-da-da. Well, I did, and I was proud of that. Where am I at? Here we go. It was large, and I had all the support system. Every game I played, and I started 42 consecutive games. My parents missed one game in 5 years of college. And that was because they were on their 30th wedding anniversary to Hawaii. My first game I ever played in, but my girlfriend, my brother, my aunt and uncle, Sue and Ronald, they always came to all the games. That's something I always loved. I was homesick, but my parents, and I always knew I could spend that 15, 20 minutes with them, give me $50 after the game just for cell phones and debit cards, and all that stuff. But I always looked, and I enjoyed the sacrifices that they made for me. I remember one time we were playing at a game in Louisiana. My dad's a Baptist preacher. So after the game, my mom and dad and probably my Aunt Sue loaded up in their Astra van. They had about 250,000 miles, and Mama drove all the way home after the ball game so my dad could get back to church and preach on Sunday morning. That's the type of sacrifices my parents made for me. And I appreciate it. Thank you. As a young boy, I always wanted to play in the NFL, like I said, for NBA, whatever. In 2001, I was signed by the Tennessee Titans, truly a dream come true. And in Nashville, I was kind of a hometown boy because I played college ball in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which was only 30 minutes down the road. On the field, I got to play with legends like Eddie George, Javon Curse, Steve McNair, and Bruce Matthews. He's probably the best offensive lineman to ever play the game. These men were incredible athletes, but also great people. When I was with the Titans, I learned how much people can change the world as a result of sports. I was able to do things like the Habitat for Humanity. When an athlete does it, they put it all on the news, and it's a big deal. But it truly meant something when you could do the Habitat for Humanity and touch so many lives. Go to the hospital on our off day and hold a couple little babies, and the parents and dads just light up. And that's when I found out athletes can do so many things in the world positive if they'll set their minds to it. And when my NFL career started, 3 years later it ended. And we all know in here what NFL stands for, right? Not for long. So don't plan. I had that dream of playing for a long time, but deep in the back of my mind, my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, always told me, look, here's what teachers make. Here's what you make. Don't get used to it. It ain't going to be for long. So luckily, she put me on the budget before we were engaged, and good thing I met you. All right. So after my career ended 3 years after, where do you go? You work your whole life for a dream. You get there, and then it's taken from you. We were in Nashville, Tennessee. I get injured. I'm jobless. I'm hanging out. I go hunting one day. When I get back to my truck, I got 12 missed calls. And I go from Nashville, Tennessee on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. I got to be on a flight Tuesday night at 10 o'clock to fly to Houston. So it's like, bye, babe. If I pass my physical, can you ship my truck down? So my second year in the league, we was in Houston. And it was you're supposed to be happy you're in the NFL, but I drove a Buick rental car because my truck was in Tennessee. And David Carr was the first pick in the NFL draft. He comes pulling up in a $150,000 Porsche, and I'm in a Buick. Nobody messed with it, though. They messed with the rookies' cars. They didn't mess with my Buick. So that was always nice. After that, I got cut, and me and my wife was planning to get married, and we were loading up a U-Haul rental car in the middle of Houston, Texas in the summertime, and I get a phone call, and the guy says, May I speak to Barry Hall? I'm like, this is him. What do you want? I thought I did something wrong again. And they were like, congratulations. I'm like, for what? And they're like, you're the newest member of the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's awesome. They're like, we need you on a flight tonight. I'm like, I can't. I'm packing my truck, my house up. I got my fiance, and we're moving back to Georgia. He said, just drive the U-Haul truck to Jacksonville, and we'll take care of it. So then me and my wife now, we get in the truck. She follows me. We drive from Houston, Texas to Jacksonville, Florida. And we got 2 dogs in the car and a pet rat. Did we have Poem at the time? So our 2 dogs were rowdy, so we pull into Jacksonville at midnight, no dogs, and we take a 140-pound Rottweiler and a dog that's been debarked because he barked nonstop to the 12th floor of the Radisson downtown Jacksonville. So, you know, what a luxurious life in the NFL we got to live. But, hey, it was fun. Well, and then after it over, and after my NFL career ended, where are you going to turn to in life? You know, I've lived here and there, but I had to come home. You know, I had to come back to Calhoun. That's where I was from. That's where I felt loved at, and that's where we chose to live at. When we moved back here, though, we only signed a 9-month lease on the house, and we ended up staying here 12 years, so we must have liked it here. I started coaching. Coach Lim actually called Mark Davison, called Coach Lim, said that Barry Hall's in town if you want to get him to come over, and Coach Lim was like, yeah, sure, Barry, you can come by 15 minutes, you can come by every day, whatever you feel fit. And he introduced me to coaching, got me the bug, and I've been doing it ever since. I coached at Gordon Central for about 11 years, and I took a year off, and went to Rome. And what I love about coaching the most is kids these days, and some of them are sad. You know, you show them you love them. You make them work hard, but these kids keep coming back to school for a reason, and they got to have something. A lot of times, school's a lot better place than their home is. So that's what I think being a coach is also like being a preacher. It's a called field, and if your heart's not in the right place, you need to get out. And I thank God that he put me in that field. As I wrap up, I'd like to thank my wife. She's always been there for me. She's my biggest fan, critic, trainer, coach, and most importantly, she's been my best friend for the last 20 years. I'd like to thank my girls, who I always encouraged to be a Hall. I married a literacy coach, so Hall stands for in our family, hardworking, athletic, loving leader. I had to throw that little acronym in, give me goody points. I want to thank my parents for all the sacrifice they made, and my brother, for me and my brother, carrying me all over the place just so I could play some sort of ball. I want to praise God for watching over me and gifting me with a talent that I didn't deserve. I want to encourage the HOF to continue to seek out the best of the best in Gordon County. To be honest with you, I'm not sure why it took me 3 years to get in this place, but I know it was meant to be today, because today is my brother's birthday. And if you know my brother, he was my biggest fan. Happy birthday, Brent, and thank y'all.
Next, we have Mr. Clarence Porch.
Clarence Porch was a dominating figure in Northwest Georgia basketball in the early 1970s. As a senior for Calhoun High School's basketball team, Porch was elected Most Valuable Player and team captain his senior year. He led the area in scoring, rebounding, field goals, and free throw percentage. As a junior player, Porch was named co-MVP. In track, Clarence set school records in the 440-yard dash, the 440-yard relay, and the mile relay as a senior. He also set a school record in the high jump in 1973 and 1975. Porch was coached by fellow Hall of Fame inductee, Coach Lynn Walter. Porch's success in high school led to a full scholarship to play basketball for Dalton Junior College. Porch was a key leader in the Roadrunners' success and national ranking during his 2 years as a starter. They rose to number 2 in the nation at one point in Porch's career. Clarence was the leading rebounder and scorer for the Roadrunners and received the Team Captain Leadership Award. His success led to a full athletic scholarship to the University of West Georgia, where he was a 2-year starter. He was a leading rebounder and scorer for the Braves and earned the Big Heart Award in 1977-78. Porch also ran track at West Georgia and participated in the 440-yard dash, intermediate hurdles, and mile relay. Porch has volunteered as an upward basketball coach and as a member of the school council. He enjoys coaching, playing golf, traveling, and spending time with his family. He has continued his successful ways in business and is currently the director of national accounts for his company. Clarence and his wife Sonia have been married for 18 years and have a daughter and son in high school, and they reside in Tyrone, Georgia. Welcome to the Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame, Clarence Porch.
Oh, good night tonight. I know you saw some of the pictures, and every time my kids see pictures with me with an afro, knee-high socks, tight shorts, they always laugh. But I'm laughing tonight because if you think about it, knee-high socks and afros are in style today. Next year, it's going to be the tight shorts in 2018. So I did hear about Mike Nance's speech, and I'm going to try to beat that. For those that know me, know that I don't talk a lot, so I'm going to try to stay within that 5 minutes. I do want to say this is an honor for me. I moved away from Calhoun more than 30 years ago, and for the community to remember me after being gone for 30 years, I really, truly appreciate that. All the people that supported me throughout my career and everything that I did in Calhoun. I'd like to start by thanking the Hall of Fame board, all the inductees for selecting me for this honor. It's a privilege to actually be a part of a privileged group of coaches and athletes. So thank you for selecting me to this honor. In 2015, my brother came to me and said, you know, Calhoun-Gordon County has started a Hall of Fame. And he said, I think I want to submit your information for the Hall of Fame. And at that time, I said, well, you know, I've got to dig through the archives, which may take some time to get you the information to submit. And we finally got together. I got it to my brother, and he actually submitted my information for me for this. And I appreciate and thank my brother for submitting the information to the Hall of Fame committee. I want to thank my family, my loving, beautiful wife of 18 years. And we just celebrated 18 years last month, Sonia. My two teenage kids, Leah, who's a sophomore at Landmark Christian High School, and my son, Joe, who's a freshman at Sandy Creek High School in Tyrone. Without their support, you know, I would not be here today. So I want everybody in the room to pray for them tonight on the way home, because they're going to have to listen to a lot of old sports stories from me. I want to thank my mother and father, who I know that's in heaven, holding hands tonight, watching over me as I accept this honor. My parents instilled a lot in me and my brother at a very early age. Humility, dependability, patience, honor, passion, and respect for others. My parents always supported me in any endeavor that I had to do or any sports that I participated in. They sacrificed and did the things they had to do for me. So my mother and my father are responsible for the man that you see on the stage tonight, and I want to thank them. I also want to thank all my coaches, teachers in high school and college, all my professors. They provided me the opportunity for education, as well as they pushed me to be the best student athlete possible. I'll tell one story. I do have a lot of stories I could tell you. Probably one of the most disappointing part of my athletic career happened when I was at West Georgia. My junior year, we were ranked number 10th in the nation, NCAA Division II. We had one of the top 5 All-American players on our team. It wasn't me. And we had a 23-4 season. We won the conference championship. We were ranked higher than our 2 competitors in the conference, and we didn't get a bid to the NCAA tournament. That was heartbreaking. Luckily, I had the opportunity to play for legendary coach Roger Kaiser at West Georgia, and he instilled in us what it means when you lose, when you have a winning season and when you lose, not going to the tournament. So he instilled so much into us. It was amazing and unbelievable. Let me share with you what being a student athlete has done for me in my career. I've actually been in the textile industry for over 30 years. I started when I was 10 years old. And being a student athlete has shaped me to be a leader in the different companies I've worked for. And I've worked for some great companies. A lot of the companies are based here in North Georgia. Other companies were based elsewhere. But it's given me opportunity to be a leader in those companies. I'm now an executive manager for the company I work for today. And being a student athlete gave me the tools and skills to be that person to succeed. As you know, everyone hates to lose being an athlete, and being in sales, I hate losing. So it's instilled a lot in me to help me in my career as I move on and be a manager. It also helps you to create teams. I manage a national account team. As you know, in sports, a lot of sports is a team sport, and you have to know how to work with your teams. So it's given me an opportunity to do everything possible that I could do as a senior manager in a profession. So in closing, I'd like a lot of the young kids to listen to what I tell you. This is a quote or kind of a brief saying of something I carried with me and something I had instilled in the kids that I've coached. I've coached my son and daughter's teams in the past, and I've always tried to instill this into the people I coach. The quote is, "The goals and objectives that you set as a student in the classroom and as an athlete on the court or field will guarantee your success for the future." That's something I always cared since a young kid, and that's a quote from my mother, Shirley Porch. Thank you.
Next up, we got Coach Lynn Walter.
Coach Lynn Walter had a long and successful career as track, cross country, and tennis coach at Calhoun High School. His cross country teams won 16 regional championships between 1968 and 2003, including an incredible 10 straight from 1973 to 1982. He was named Georgia Cross Country Coach of the Year in 1983 and was the Atlanta Track Club Coach of the Year in 1993. He coached the teams to 3 state runner-up finishes, 5 third-place finishes, and 5 fourth-place finishes. One of his students, Brent Beck, was the overall state champion in 1974. As track coach, his teams won 2 regional championships and had a student athlete compete in the state championship 29 of his 30 years as a coach. Coach Walter coached state champions Brent Beck, Jeff McBee, and fellow Hall of Famer Mike Durham. Coach Walter still volunteers as an assistant coach for Calhoun High School. In post-retirement, he coached the state winner in the high jump. He is the only coach in Calhoun history who has had state champions or runner-ups in 3 different sports: track, cross country, and tennis. As a student at Calhoun High School in the mid-1950s, Walter was a standout athlete in basketball, baseball, and of course track. He was a member of the relay team in the state championships and graduated from Calhoun as part of the class of 1957. Coach Walter went on to graduate from the University of Georgia and earned a master's degree from Peabody College. He served 6 years in the National Guard. Lynn Walter has donated over 42 gallons of blood to date to the American Red Cross. He is an active member of Belmont Baptist Church and a multiple-time participant in BRAG, Bike Ride Across America. Most any day you can find Coach Walter riding his bike or working out at the local gym. He also enjoys gardening and reading. Lynn and his wife Linda have 2 sons, Robbie and Russ, 6 grandchildren, and 2 great-granddaughters. Lynn and Linda Walter are celebrating their 55th wedding anniversary today. Welcome to the Calhoun-Gordon County Sports Hall of Fame, Coach Lynn Walter.
I'd like to thank the committee for selecting me to this Hall of Fame. Also, I'd like to thank my family. I got Russ here with his family. The other brother, or son rather, is getting ready for a wedding tomorrow. So this has been a pretty nice weekend for the Walter family. I had a birthday Thursday, this tonight, and a wedding tomorrow. What can you ask for us any better than this? I'd like to thank all my friends and neighbors for backing me up, being here tonight to enjoy this festivities. I got 3 separate groups that I want to take a quick thank you to. I started out coaching tennis, and I was fortunate to have boys doubles champions. Those 2 kids right now are lawyers, or either retired lawyers, one way or the other. The girls doubles were state runners-up 2 years in a row. I had the privilege of coaching Georgia's junior miss on my tennis team. We go to a tennis match and people would say, "Is that who I think that is?" It was Georgia's junior miss. And all of them that played tennis for me, I thank you, because you're part of the reason that I'm here tonight. Cross country was probably the main reason that I'm up here as far as the winning and losing. For every person that ran cross country, whether you were number 1 or 101, I thank you. In '74, Brent Beck, who is here tonight, stand up, Brent, if you don't mind. If I want to embarrass you, Brent, stand up, where are you? Brent Beck, there he is. State champion 1974. But the cross country team got off on a good start. Larry Mashford and his crew started us, and we got on the roll, and we stayed on the roll for quite a while. For those who were part of the region winning teams, again, whether you were number 1 or 101, we thank you. Those that ran on the state teams, whether you're top 7, I give you thanks, because again, you're the reason that I'm up here tonight. And from the track end of it, we started, again, Barry Mashman and his crew started the track program out, as far as I was concerned, on a winning note, and we've done well. Calhoun High School has done real well in track. We've had 3 state winners, and they are what I call special state winners. You can be a state winner, but if you're a special state winner, that means you've either set a state record, you have scored the most points at the state meet, regardless of your classification, or you have that had the best performance in the state track meet, regardless of your classification. Brent Beck, standing over here, was a state champion in '75. Also set a state record. He's the second state record that Calhoun has had. If I'm not mistaken, Kenneth Moore was a state record holder in the now defunct 200-yard hurdles. I didn't even know they ran 200-yard hurdles. Clarence Porch ran 180-yard low hurdles. We don't run that anymore. He also, it didn't show it, but he was one of the first high jumpers for me that landed in a foam pit. When I started out, we landed in sawdust. We had a metal vaulting pole, aluminum. It didn't matter what you weighed, everybody used the same pole. And we had dirt tracks. Go to any high school in the area, we've got foam pits, we've got artificial surfaces. Hey, we're a high cotton. We really are. Now, Brent was the state champion, state record holder. Michael Durham, who was a double state winner, and he tied for second in the high jump, a three-way tie. He scored 26.5 points. He got a trophy for that. Jeff McVey had the best performance in the 400 at 47.57. That's still one of the top 20 times in the 400. Brent's 909, and that's metrics, and I hate metrics. I can't deal with them. You give me a measuring tape and turn it over to metrics, and I'll get it back to you, because I don't read metrics. But anyway, he ran 9:12.9. If you leave it as it is at 3,200 rather than a 2 mile rather than a 3,200, that's one of the top 20 times in the state right now also. And that was 42 years ago. 40 something, maybe you old and be older. But anyhow, that's how long ago it's been. So there's special state champions and then what I call a regular state champion. I'd also like to stop to thank D.A. Richardson and Ken Baker, two of the best assistant coaches you could have. They were real good, and I appreciate them. Raymond Hobby and our present coach, Brant Murray, for letting me continue to be part of the track program. I told them as long as they felt that I was doing what they wanted done, then I'd be around. If not, I'd jump on that bicycle and I'd be gone. When I said Calhoun track was in good shape, in the last 6 years, the boys have won 5 region championships, the girls have won 3. And Sonoral has a good track program, and Gordon Central has a good track program. People know that when you mention Gordon County track and you've got Calhoun in the county schools, we have good programs. And I think we're in good hands, all 3 schools, for the next 2 or 3 years at least. I'd like to challenge all of you who are able, Monday week, the 28th, go to the Methodist Church, climb up on the little bed there, put your arm out, let them stick you with a needle, take a nap, give them a pint of blood, and then you get your reward. You get to go over and get cookies and juice. That's what I get it for, the cookies and the juice. But the pint that you give can save 3 lives. Takes what, 8 pints to the gallon? Multiply that and figure out what 42 does. It's just something I've done, and I'm as proud of that as I am anything that we've accomplished. And today is 55 years for the young lady right over here. And if cross country and you want to know what your time or distance was, give me a little while, but I can find it. I have the results of every track meet I was head coach of, every cross country meet I was head coach of. I've got them at home. And it's kind of like being a fisherman. When you tell your fish story, the fish gets a little longer and it weighs a little bit more. So when you're talking to somebody that said, what did you run? And you give them a time. If it doesn't sound good to you, call me. I'll find it. I'll let you know. Again, I'd like to thank the committee for putting me up here. The kids that ran for me, participated for me. I'd like to thank you for doing what you did, the job that you did. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program for tonight. I told you, I think, about 2.5 hours ago that you would enjoy tonight. I'm sure you have. To the 7 inductees, what a wonderful job you each did. It was a great evening. Our community is a wonderful place. Many of you spoke of that. What makes it great is great people. I would encourage everyone here, if you're not involved in the community and doing something, whether it's your time or your effort or your money, to invest one of those things into making Calhoun, Gordon County even a better place for our future generations. And as far as this Calhoun, Gordon County Hall of Fame, it takes those same three things. It takes time and energy, and our board of directors have given tirelessly both time and energy to make this possible, unpaid, but it also takes money. So if you've had a good time tonight, and you believe in what we're doing, and you think this adds value to our community, please give what you can. It would be much appreciated, because we certainly believe in it. We enjoyed tonight. Thank you. Please have safe travels, and God bless you all.